They called the cops on a blind teenager for using her white cane, accusing her of vandalism, unaware that her father was the county sheriff, and he was about to turn their world upside down with the truth. Her name was Kayla Harris, a 17-year-old blind high school junior living in a quiet suburban neighborhood in Forsyth County, Georgia. Kayla had been blind since birth, navigating the world with a white cane and an unshakable spirit honed by years of overcoming challenges. Her father, Sheriff Marcus Harris, was the first black sheriff in the county's history, a 20-year veteran of law enforcement known for his integrity and no-nonsense approach. On a warm September afternoon in 2024, an incident unfolded that would shake their community and expose the ugly undercurrents of prejudice hiding behind manicured lawns and HOA rulebooks. Kayla was walking home from the bus stop, her white cane tapping rhythmically against the sidewalk as she made her way through the Oakwood Estates neighborhood. She knew the route by heart, having memorized every curb, mailbox, and crosswalk. Her cane, a lightweight aluminum rod with a red tip, was her lifeline, guiding her through a world she couldn't see. She was a familiar sight in the neighborhood, often chatting with neighbors or waving at kids playing in their yards. But not everyone saw her as just a teenager going about her day. Linda Grayson, a 52-year-old HOA board member, was driving through the neighborhood when she spotted Kayla. Linda was known for her strict enforcement of HOA rules, from lawn height to mailbox colors, earning her a reputation as the neighborhood's unofficial enforcer. She had a history of complaints, petty grievances about parked cars, holiday decorations, or even children playing too loudly. That day, something about Kayla's cane caught her attention. To Linda, the tapping sound and the way the cane brushed against a mailbox looked suspicious, like someone defacing property. Linda pulled over, rolled down her window, and called out to Kayla. "Hey you, what are you doing with that stick?" Her tone was sharp, accusatory, carrying the weight of someone used to being obeyed. Kayla paused, turning toward the voice, her face calm but cautious. "I'm just walking home," she said, her voice clear. "This is my cane. I'm blind." Linda's eyes narrowed. She didn't know Kayla, though she had seen her around the neighborhood. To her, the cane didn't register as a mobility aid. It was a tool, a weapon, something out of place in her pristine community. "That's no excuse," Linda snapped. "You're hitting mailboxes with that thing. That's vandalism. Stop it right now." Kayla's brow furrowed, but she kept her composure, a skill she'd learned from years of navigating a world that often misunderstood her. "I'm not vandalizing anything," she said. "My cane helps me get around. I'm just trying to get home." Linda wasn't listening. She stepped out of her car, her phone already in hand, dialing 911. "I'm reporting you," she said, her voice loud enough for a neighbor across the street to hear. "You can't just go around damaging property." Kayla stood still, her cane resting against the ground, her heart racing. She wasn't afraid, but she was frustrated. She had dealt with assumptions before, people thinking she was helpless, or worse, a problem. But this was new. She could hear Linda on the phone, describing her as a teenager with a stick, causing trouble, her words dripping with disdain. Kayla tried to explain again, but Linda cut her off, telling her to stay put until the police arrived. Within minutes, a patrol car pulled up and 2 deputies stepped out. Deputy John Carter, a 10-year veteran, approached first, his hand resting casually on his belt. His partner, Deputy Sarah Mills, hung back, assessing the situation. Linda launched into her complaint, pointing at Kayla and her cane. "She's been hitting mailboxes, probably scratching them up," Linda said. "I want her arrested for vandalism." Carter looked at Kayla, who stood calmly, her cane clearly marked with the red and white pattern of a mobility aid. "Ma'am," he said to Linda, his tone measured, "this young lady is blind. That's a white cane, used for navigation." Linda crossed her arms, undeterred. "I don't care what it's called," she said. "She's damaging property. You need to do something about it." Kayla spoke up, her voice steady but firm. "I'm Kayla Harris. I live at 1427 Oakwood Drive. I'm just walking home from the bus stop. I'm not damaging anything." Carter nodded, recognizing the name. He had met Sheriff Harris's daughter at a community event a year earlier, though he hadn't made the connection immediately. "Let's just calm down," he said, turning to Linda. "I don't see any damage here. This is a misunderstanding." But Linda wasn't backing down. She insisted on filing a formal complaint, demanding that Kayla be detained until the mailboxes could be inspected. Mills, the second deputy, stepped forward, her expression uneasy. She whispered to Carter, suggesting they call it in to confirm how to proceed. Carter agreed, radioing the station. What neither Linda nor the deputies knew was that the call would reach Sheriff Marcus Harris himself, who was in his office at the Forsyth County Sheriff's Department. Marcus was reviewing reports when the call came through. The dispatcher relayed the situation, a complaint about a blind teenager with a white cane accused of vandalism in Oakwood Estates. The name Kayla Harris hit him like a punch. He grabbed his radio, his voice calm but edged with steel. "This is Sheriff Harris. That's my daughter. I'm on my way. Do not detain her. I repeat, do not detain her." Back at the scene, Carter and Mills were trying to de-escalate. Linda was still talking, her voice rising as she listed every HOA rule she believed Kayla had violated. Kayla stood quietly, her cane in hand, her face composed but her mind racing. She knew her father would hear about this. He always did when something happened in the county. But she also knew she had done nothing wrong, and she wasn't about to let Linda's accusations define her. Marcus arrived in under 10 minutes, his sheriff's SUV pulling up with a screech. He stepped out, his badge gleaming on his uniform, his presence commanding the attention of everyone present. Linda's voice faltered as she saw him, her confidence waning as she realized who he was. Marcus's eyes locked onto his daughter first, checking to ensure she was okay. Kayla gave him a small nod, her expression steady. "Sheriff Harris," Carter said, straightening. "We were just trying to sort this out." Marcus turned to Linda, his gaze unflinching. "You called my deputies to report my daughter for using her white cane?" he asked, his voice low but carrying the weight of authority. "You accused a blind teenager of vandalism?" Linda stammered, her earlier bravado crumbling. I didn't know she was your daughter," she said. "I thought she was damaging property. The mailboxes." "Show me the damage," Marcus interrupted, his tone leaving no room for argument. He walked to the nearest mailbox, inspecting it closely. There wasn't a scratch, not a mark. He turned back to Linda, his expression unreadable. "You saw a blind girl walking home and decided she was a criminal. Why?" Linda's face reddened, but she didn't answer. The neighbors who had gathered, drawn by the commotion, were watching now, some whispering, others shaking their heads. Marcus didn't raise his voice, didn't need to. "My daughter has every right to walk through this neighborhood," he said. "Her cane is not a weapon. It's how she lives her life. And you called the police on her for it." Carter stepped in, his tone apologetic. "Sheriff, we didn't know it was Kayla at first. We were just responding to the call." Marcus nodded, his eyes still on Linda. "I understand, Deputy. But this stops here. No charges, no citations. This was a mistake, and it's over." Linda tried to protest, muttering something about HOA regulations, but Marcus cut her off. "You're done," he said. "If you have a problem with my daughter, you come to me. But I suggest you think twice before making another call like this." He turned to Kayla, his voice softening. "You okay, sweetheart?" "I'm fine, Dad," Kayla said, her voice steady. "Just want to get home." Marcus nodded, placing a hand on her shoulder. "Let's go." As they walked to his SUV, the neighbors dispersed, some casting sympathetic glances at Kayla, others avoiding Linda's gaze. The deputies returned to their patrol car, and Linda stood alone, her phone still in her hand, her authority diminished. The incident wasn't over, though. By evening, word had spread through Oakwood Estates, and residents were talking, not just about Kayla, but about Linda's overreach and the assumptions that fueled it. The next day, Marcus filed a formal complaint with the HOA board, citing harassment and discrimination. Kayla, meanwhile, went back to school, her cane tapping as she navigated the halls, her focus on her studies and her dream of becoming a lawyer. But the story didn't stay quiet. A neighbor posted about the incident on a community forum, and it quickly gained traction, shared across social media with hashtags like hashtag Justice for Kayla and hashtag #endbias. Local news picked it up, and soon, the story of a blind teenager targeted by an overzealous HOA member was making waves. Linda faced backlash. The HOA board, under pressure from residents, removed her from her position, citing her misuse of authority. She issued a public apology, claiming she had misunderstood the situation, but it did little to quell the anger of those who saw her actions for what they were, a mix of ignorance and prejudice. Marcus, as sheriff, ensured the incident was documented, a reminder to his department and the community that no one, not even a teenager with a disability, was immune to unfair treatment. Kayla, for her part, didn't let the incident define her. She spoke at a town hall meeting a month later, her voice clear and confident as she addressed the crowd. "I'm not here to be pitied," she said. "I'm here to live my life, just like anyone else. Don't judge what you don't understand." Her words resonated, sparking conversations about accessibility, bias, and the power of community. Marcus watched from the audience, his pride in his daughter evident. He continued his work as sheriff, pushing for training on implicit bias and disability awareness for his deputies. And Kayla kept moving forward, her cane a symbol not of limitation, but of her strength, her resilience, and her right to exist in a world that sometimes tried to push her aside.